South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol yet again embarked on overseas trips, this time to the UK and France. He aims to bolster ties while in London and promote Busan as the right choice for the 2030 World Expo while in Paris. South Korea's military assigns high odds to North Korea attempting its third launch of a spy satellite this week as it sends a warning. This could result in a partial suspension of the 2018 Inter-Korean Military Pact. Israel and Hamas are reportedly close to a deal to pause the fighting to free dozens of hostages in Gaza, which Israel denies. The IDF could be expanding its operation down to the southern part of Gaza. It's November 20th, 2023. This is News Center. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Yoon Jung-min. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol yet again embarked on overseas trips, this time to the UK and France on the heels of his flurry of diplomacy at the APEC summit. He aims to bolster cooperation while in London and promote Busan as the right choice for the 2030 World Expo while in Paris ahead of the final voting next week. Our presidential office correspondent Oh Soo-young stirs us off.
President Yoon Suk-yeol says his state visit to the United Kingdom will serve as a catalyst for Korea to emerge as one of the UK's global strategic partners. Speaking to The Telegraph ahead of his trip on Monday to mark 140 years of bilateral relations, Yoon called for closer collaboration between Seoul and London amid complex global polycrises, including North Korea's nuclear threat and the regime's weapons cooperation with Russia, as well as wars in Ukraine and the Middle East. He also expressed concern over closer collaboration between Pyongyang, Moscow and China, as well as tensions in the South China Sea. These make it all the more vital to ramp up economic and security cooperation with the UK, Yoon told the paper. In a press briefing, Yoon's spokesperson Lee said Sunday that during Yoon's state visit, the two governments would announce a comprehensive document laying out specific areas of cooperation called the Korea-UK Accord.
Excluding the United States, it is unprecedented for our country to issue a comprehensive document of this kind. It is expected to be an opportunity to re-establish our diplomatic relations.
Following a royal reception, luncheon and tribute to Korean war veterans, Lee added that the South Korean leader would make a speech to Parliament in English, as he did at the US Congress. With Britain's tilt to the Indo-Pacific, its post-Brexit strategy to engage more deeply with countries in the region, amid trade and geopolitical uncertainty in the world, the two countries are expected to bolster cooperation in various fields.
The UK has a developed defence industry and is also a permanent member of the UN Security Council. Since Korea will serve as a non-permanent member of the Council for 2 years starting next year, there's great potential for cooperation in terms of security.
Also elaborating on economic ties, Lee noted that the UK is the world's sixth largest economy with a GDP of over $3 trillion and a trade volume with South Korea of $12 billion last year.
We're seeing rise in luxury goods trade, we're seeing rise in renewable energy, we're seeing rises in automotives. You know, some of our automotive brands, Korea is in their top 5 markets. So defence as well, and digital. So Korea is a really strong market for British business, and it's great that that's increased. This year marks the start of negotiations for the free trade agreement, and that is a really exciting opportunity for Britain and UK businesses.
Following his visit to the UK, Seoul's top office says Yoon will head to France for 3 days to promote Korea's bid to host the 2030 World Expo in the port city of Busan, engaging with various delegates of the Expo's organisation based in Paris. He said the final presentation for Busan will be made by an influential figure in the international community ahead of the final vote on November 28. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.
Prior to his UK trip, President Yoon wrapped up his APEC summit diplomacy in San Francisco with a tech roundtable at Stanford University with his Japanese counterpart Fumiya Kishida, reflecting a change in the recent Seoul-Tokyo ties. Correspondent Kim Do-yeon reports.
A clear sign of an improving bilateral relationship at Stanford University on Friday local time, leaders of South Korea and Japan, for the first time ever, co-hosted an event in a third country.
국제사회에서 저와 가장 가까운 기시다 후미오 총리님과 또 혁신의 산실인 스탠포드 교정을 함께 방문하게 되어 매우 기쁩니다.
Kishida also called the occasion a big day, referring to Stanford's American football game against local rivals UC Berkeley, and said it's a, quote, new feeling as the leaders met for the 8th time just this year.
Until last year, no one could have imagined a situation like this. My belief is that if a national leader makes decisions and takes action, it can change the world.
President Yoon made efforts to improve bilateral relations since early this year as cooperation between the neighboring countries had been severed on multiple fronts since 2019 when a South Korean court ruled that Japanese firms should compensate the victims of wartime forced labor during World War II. At this symposium, the two pledged to work together in science and tech, including ways to cooperate in hydrogen energy and tackling climate change. And of course, all this with their other key partner from Camp David Summit, the US. This groundbreaking event was Yoon's last stop of his APEC trip, where he engaged in 3 days of multilateral diplomacy. President Yoon, addressing leaders representing 60% of the world's GDP, proposed an APEC initiative for smart mobility led by South Korea, focusing on eco-friendly and autonomous vehicles. He emphasized South Korea's aim to pioneer rule-based AI development and advocated for a return to rule-based multilateral trade. Amidst all this, he met with leading business figures in the US as well, with 4 companies, General Motors, DuPont, IMC, and Ecolab, announcing investments to South Korea totaling $1.16 billion US.
By attracting foreign investment through the top office's diplomatic efforts, we can immediately contribute not only to our economic growth, but also to the creation of good jobs. The investment from 4 US companies is expected to generate numerous high-quality jobs, especially in advanced industries like automobiles and semiconductors.
In addition, his participation at the Sideline Summit among the 14 IPAF members garnered attention as 2 more pillars on cooperation on clean energy and anti-corruption measures were officially accepted, with only the 4th and final pillar on trade matters to be agreed. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
Moving on, South Korea warns North Korea against a third attempt at placing a spy satellite into orbit, which could take place within a week. The launch could mean a partial suspension of the September 19th Inter-Korean Military Pact. Our defense correspondent Choi Min-jung explains.
South Korea's military has warned North Korea to immediately stop any preparations to launch a military reconnaissance satellite. Chief Director of Operations at the Joint Chiefs of Staff Kang Ho-pil vowed Monday to take necessary measures if Pyongyang were to ignore the warning.
We are sternly warning North Korea to immediately stop the launch of the military reconnaissance satellite, currently under preparation. If North Korea presses ahead with the launch despite our warning, our military will take necessary measures to guarantee the lives and safety of our people.
Although Kang did not elaborate on what those measures would be, the government is widely anticipated to partially suspend the Inter-Korean Military Pact signed in 2018, also known as the September 19th Military Agreement. The pact, which established no-fly zones near the border, has recently been called into question as it restricts Seoul's surveillance and reconnaissance capabilities amid escalating North Korean threats.
We believe there will be necessary progress made through consultations with relevant ministries and through the correct channels.
It is rather unusual for military authorities to issue a warning before a launch, but a JCS official explained that the warning was made based on the results of the National Security Council meeting held Monday morning, which looked at the possibility of a spy satellite launch by the North, as well as countermeasures against it. JCS's warning comes a day after Seoul's defense chief Shin Won-sik said in a broadcast interview that North Korea may launch a military spy satellite within a week or so. Shin said the North is believed to have almost resolved its engine problems with Russia's help. North Korea has already made 2 failed attempts in May and August. Choi Min-jung, Arirang News.
Israel and Hamas are reportedly close to a possible truce deal for an initial release of dozens of hostages held by Hamas in Gaza. Israel, meanwhile, denied that any such agreement was being considered. Kim Jong-soo has the latest.
According to Al-Ghad and Israel's Ynet, a Hamas official told the Arabic newspaper that a pause in the fighting in the Gaza Strip will come into effect at 11 a.m. on Monday local time as part of an agreement to release hostages held by Hamas. Ynet reported that an Israeli official denied the report, saying there had been no such agreement. The Washington Post reported over the weekend that the deal was, quote, a detailed 6-page set of written terms that would require all parties to the conflict to freeze combat operations for at least 5 days, while an initial 50 or more hostages are released in smaller batches every 24 hours. Meanwhile, the Israel Defense Forces has released a video of an underground tunnel at the Dar Arshifa hospital compound, the largest medical facility in Gaza. The video that was filmed on Friday begins outside the tunnel shaft and into the inside, showing a tunnel extending some 55 meters underground. The IDF said the underground tunnel had stairs, a blast-proof door, and a firing slot that could be used by snipers. It also released CCTV footage from the hospital showing alleged Hamas militants dragging other men inside the building.
Hamas was hiding and murdering our hostages in Shifa Hospital. Hamas was building terror tunnels underneath Shifa Hospital.
The IDF confirmed that these men were Thai and Nepalese nationals who were taken to the hospital following last month's attack. A senior Hamas official denied the claims.
They claim this hospital was a command center, control, administration and domination, an issue which is much bigger than just a tunnel. Where is that? There's nothing of that sort.
Meanwhile, an Israeli military spokesperson indicated on Friday that IDF operations would advance into southern Gaza, but did not indicate the timing. This comes after Israeli forces have largely succeeded in taking control of northern Gaza. A total of 31 premature babies from the same hospital were evacuated on Sunday to Gaza's southern city of Rafah. The babies will be transferred to Egypt. Kim Jung-sil, Arirang News.
Japan has now released the third batch of wastewater from the destroyed Fukushima nuclear power plant, discharging another 7,800 tons into the Pacific Ocean. The operator of the plant, Tokyo Electric Power Company, announced that the discharge, which began on November 2nd, was completed on Monday. The same amount of water was released in each of the two earlier discharges for a total of 23,400 tons so far. Japan aims to release another batch of water early next year and discharge a total of 31,200 tons by March 2024. The South Korean government, which had earlier sent a team of monitoring experts to Fukushima, also confirmed Monday that the process was completed and said the level of tritium remained below the limits. Sales of hydrogen-powered vehicles fell from January to September this year due to insufficient refilling infrastructure and the limited choice of models. According to SNE research on Monday, sales dropped a little over 21% year-on-year globally. But while Hyundai saw its sales fall around 50% compared to last year, the company kept its position on top of the global market with an over 38% share. By country, South Koreans bought the most hydrogen-powered vehicles during the same period, despite a drop of about half from that of last year. Meanwhile, China and the U.S. saw hikes in sales mainly as hydrogen-fueled commercial vehicles and Toyota's Mirai models saw rises respectively. It was the mega event for esports fans worldwide. The champion for the 2023 League of Legends World Championship was Korea's T1, winning the trophy for the first time in 7 years. This is raising the bar even further for the team leader, Faker. Yoon has the highlights.
The 2023 League of Legends World Championship final match was held on Sunday at Gocheok Skydome in Seoul. The country's largest indoor venue was filled with a passionate community of fans. And kicking off the climax moments of the 2023 League of Legends World Championship, video game developer Riot's new virtual pop group, Heartsteel, performed at the opening ceremony, which also featured K-pop group NewJeans, who sang the championship's anthem, Gods. This year's theme is the grind, the glory. Behind every trophy is a long journey of dedication and hard work. Here, a sellout crowd of over 18,000 have gathered to witness the moment of glory. The Korean League's T1 and Chinese League's Weibo Gaming competed in matches played in a best-of-5 format. T1 took control, winning the first and second matches. You could feel the passionate support and desperate cheering of the fans watching, knowing that the win was in sight.
This is my first time to watch matches on site, and the atmosphere here is so exciting. I also enjoyed New Jean's performance.
Victory in the third round meant T1 lifted the Summoners Cup and set a new record for League of Legends World Championship wins. It makes it even more special that they were able to celebrate the victory in front of their home crowd.
Over everything, I'm so grateful to be able to play in front of so many people. And to be honest, the result is not important to me.
I was at Worlds last year and their defeat was crushing. So it was great to see them, have that comeback this year.
T1 player Faker, seen as an inspiration for many gamers, is now the only League of Legends player in the world to have won the World Championship 4 times.
I believe that as long as we are willing to learn, the victory will come. This time, I was also lucky enough to win. I set a goal for this competition to not care so much about the result, and to just focus on the process. And I believe that did enhance my skills during the games. I learned so much during this Worlds.
Now teams from South Korea have 8 world champion titles since they started participating in 2012, which was the tournament's second year. According to Riot CEO, every match played as well as the support of fans contributes to the company's mission of delivering exceptional experiences as a truly global sport, which is why Riot is committed to honoring the excitement in the fandom of esports around the world.
Korea is the birthplace of esports, and you have delivered an unforgettable world. 감사합니다.
Yoon, Arirang News.
Korea is hosting UNESCO's first international center for documentary heritage. It opened in the city of Cheongju, the hometown of Chikji, the world's first metal movable type. Choi Soo-young covers this event and its broader significance.
Documentary heritage is a key part of our understanding of the history of civilization. The UNESCO International Center for Documentary Heritage opened on November 1st in Cheongju, Chungcheongbuk-do Province, home to the world's first metal movable type, Chikji. Korea, with the Asia's largest and the world's 5th largest documentary heritage, became the first to open such a center.
UNESCO believes the power of knowledge that has contributed to facilitation of human development, especially through documentary heritages represented by global communities.
A special opening exhibition prepared for this event delighted visitors.
This exhibition brings joy by exploring the documentary heritage of the world, focusing on the big theme of giving light, progress, and hope to humanity.
Visitors can experience the history of humanity, accompanied by records as they pass through 5 zones. In the Zone 1, an artwork shapes light against the darkness using the nebula sky disk likely created in the Bronze Age, showing celestial phenomena as a motif using light and shadows. You can also see the big wall art screen, which combines documentary heritage with modern digital media. The head director of this opening exhibition said anyone can truly feel the essence of the light.
I use light as a metaphor so that the audience can actually feel the discovery and the significance through their own discovery through by being in the exhibition.
Additionally, visitors can contemplate records of humanity's darker moments such as war, disease and discrimination, and witness the efforts made by humanity to overcome such darkness. In the final zone, visitors also have the opportunity to leave their own records by writing a letter.
I want them to forget about everyday, worries, forget about the congested traffic and city noise and the lights, noisy lights and signs on the way.
The exhibition will be open until June 28th next year. Choi Soo-young, Arirang News.
It is time to take a look at what's been happening in the world of sports. Joining us in the studio is our sports editor, Paul Need. Evening, Paul.
Evening.
In golf, South Korea's Yang Hyung, or Amy Yang, she won the last LPGA Tour tournament of the season.
Yes, that's right. So on Sunday, she won the CME Group Tour Championship in Naples, Florida. Yang finished at 27 under par 261, 3 strokes ahead of Korean-American Allison Lee. And according to the LPGA, this actually beats the tournament's 72-hole scoring record by 4 strokes. Yang earned a whopping $2 million in prize money following her win. It was her first of the season, but 5th LPGA win overall. Elsewhere, Kim Hyo-ju finished tied for 13th and Yoo Hae-ran tied for 36th. The season finale has been a happy hunting ground for South Koreans in recent years. Kim Se-young in 2019, she won it then. Ko Jin-young won it in 2020 and 2021. And last year, Korean-Australian Lydia Ko won it as well.
Moving on to baseball, South Korea came very close to winning the Asian Professional Baseball Championship.
Yes, the APBC, which is basically an under-24 championship. But yes, on Sunday at the Tokyo Dome, Korea lost 4-3 to Japan in extra innings. After the regulation 9 innings, the score was level at 2-2. Japan actually scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 10th after Korea had not long since gone ahead. Korea initially went ahead in the 3rd inning with No Si-hwan scoring a double, but Japan came back to score runs in innings 5 and 6. Yoon Dong-hee then made it 3-2 to Korea, but Japan roared back. It was the 2nd edition of the APBC. The first was back in 2017. The 2021 tournament was cancelled due to the pandemic.
And to football now. South Korea's men's team is in action tomorrow against China.
Yes, it's a World Cup qualification match. Korea head to Shenzhen, looking to make it 2 wins from 2 in World Cup qualification so far, after putting 5 past Singapore on Thursday last week. It was Korea's first competitive win under new manager Jürgen Klinsmann, and it extended their run to 4 straight wins with at least 4 goals scored, not to mention 5 clean sheets in a row. On Thursday, though, the goals came from Cho Gu-sung, Hwang Hee-chan, Son Heung-min, Hwang Hee-jo and Lee Gang-in, 5 different scorers, all on the books of clubs in Europe. China also won their first qualifier on Thursday, beating Thailand 2-1 away after going a goal down. Korea last faced the Chinese in World Cup qualification in 2016 and 2017, winning 3-2 at home in September 2016 and losing 1-0 away in March the following year.
Fingers crossed. And our final topic is tennis. Novak Djokovic has done it again.
Yes, he's in the history books once more. On Sunday in Italy, Djokovic won the 2023 ATP World Tour Finals. He beat Carlos Alcaraz 6-3, 6-2 to claim a record-breaking 7th ATP Finals title. He had been level with Roger Federer with 6 leading up to this year's competition. It was also his 71st big title, which takes into account Grand Slams, ATP Finals, ATP Masters 1000s, as well as Olympic gold medals. So what's next for the Serbian to achieve? Well, the aim now is to become only the 3rd player to win over 100 titles, joining Jimmy Connors with 109 and Roger Federer with 103.
All right, nice wrap-up. I'll see you next week.
Thank you. See ya.
The bitter cold wave will take a brief respite until the middle of the week.
Conditions will be fairly moderate tomorrow, but be mindful of big contrast in daily temperatures. Most regions, including here in Seoul, will see a huge gap of 10 degrees or more in between day and night. Places like Cheongju will see lows in the minus range, but maximum temperatures will be jumping to 12 degrees for the daytime. Meanwhile, dry spells are persisting across the East Coast. Conditions are especially dry for Gangwon-do province with advisories in place. Gusty offshore winds will follow at times, which will increase the risk of wildfires. Overnight temperatures will drop to below freezing for some regions. Frost and ice may be seen for the morning hours, which can damage crops and other sensitive vegetation. Sunny skies will dominate nationwide. Tomorrow, Seoul will be starting off at 2 degrees Celsius. Conditions will get much warmer for the daytime. Highs in Seoul will get up to 14. Gwangju 17, Busan will reach 18 degrees. On Thursday, showers are in the forecast for central regions, including Seoul. After the rain, morning temperatures will be dropping to the negative territory. It's all for now, and here are the weather conditions around the world.
That is News Center for tonight. Thank you for watching. A panel session coming up.